I want to take you on a journey, my journey. My name is Jacob, and what I'm about to share with you isn't just a story. It's my life, my struggles, and my ultimate transformation. If you're someone who's ever doubted yourself, faced challenges that seemed insurmountable, or felt like you were stuck in place while the world moved forward, then listen carefully. Because what I'm about to tell you might just change the way you think forever. I wasn't always the person you see today. There was a time when I was lost, drifting through life without a clear sense of purpose. I felt trapped in a cycle of uncertainty, waking up each morning without a direction, merely existing rather than truly living. I spent years waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for something or someone to pull me out of my situation. I convinced myself that one day, luck would find me, that success would arrive at my doorstep if I just held on long enough. But life doesn't work like that. The world doesn't stop for those who hesitate. It took me far too long to realize that waiting was just another form of self-sabotage. The day I understood that no one was coming to save me, that no miraculous moment would change everything for me unless I took control, was the day my real journey began. That was the day I stopped dreaming about change and started creating it. It started with my mindset. I had to completely reprogram the way I thought about myself, my future, and what was possible for me. I used to believe that success was something that happened to other people, those who were born with better opportunities, natural talent, or sheer luck. I thought life was a lottery, and since I wasn't one of the lucky ones, I would never make it. But as I studied those who had made it, I realized that wasn't true at all. The most successful people weren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They were simply the ones who refused to quit, the ones who fought for their dreams even when everything seemed to be against them. I had to unlearn the false narratives I had carried for years. I had to strip away the belief that I wasn't good enough, that I didn't have what it took. I realized that success isn't handed out, it's created, earned, and fought for. And the first step to creating it is believing you can. The moment this clicked for me, everything started shifting. I stopped waiting for external validation and started proving to myself that I was capable. I began setting small goals, ones that seemed just a little out of reach but not impossible. Every time I achieved one, I pushed myself further. Slowly, I built confidence, and that confidence turned into momentum. But belief alone wasn't enough. I had to back it up with action. I devoured books on self-improvement, read about the struggles of those who had achieved greatness, and learned that failure wasn't a sign to stop, it was a stepping stone toward growth. I started waking up earlier, prioritizing my time, and cutting out distractions. Success, I realized, wasn't about giant leaps. It was about small, consistent steps taken every single day. And as I continued down this path, I saw my mindset evolving. I went from someone who doubted themselves to someone who expected success, not because I thought I was entitled to it, but because I was willing to work for it like never before. I still remember the exact moment when this shift occurred. It was a quiet evening, and I was sitting alone, drowning in self-doubt, questioning whether I would ever accomplish anything meaningful. Then, almost out of nowhere, a voice inside me said, "Why not me?" That question changed everything. Why not me? Why couldn't I be successful? Why couldn't I turn my life around? At that moment, I made a decision. I would stop making excuses, and I would start taking action. That decision was the catalyst. The more I reinforced the belief that I was capable, the more things started shifting. I began absorbing books, listening to mentors, and surrounding myself with people who pushed me to be better. I realized that I had been carrying a lifetime of limiting beliefs. Beliefs that told me I wasn't good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. But those were just stories I had been telling myself, and like any story, they could be rewritten. I immersed myself in self-improvement like a man on a mission. Every book I read, every podcast I listened to, every successful person I studied reinforced the idea that success wasn't just for the chosen few, it was for those who refused to quit. I devoured autobiographies of entrepreneurs, athletes, and world leaders, looking for common threads in their stories. What I found was simple: they all faced struggles, they all encountered moments of doubt, but they pushed forward anyway. And that's exactly what I resolved to do. One of the biggest lessons I learned in this period was the power of mentorship. I had always believed that successful people had some innate ability that set them apart, but the truth was, they had learned from others. So I sought out mentors, people who had walked the path before me, who had faced their own struggles and come out stronger. Some I met in person, others I learned from through their books and speeches. But every interaction gave me something new, an insight, a strategy, a piece of wisdom that I could apply to my own journey. Beyond mentorship, I started applying what I learned immediately. I didn't just read about success, I practiced the principles daily. I committed to waking up early, exercising, and structuring my day around productive habits. I practiced visualization, writing down my goals, and measuring my progress weekly. Slowly but surely, I saw the changes happening. My confidence grew. My fear of failure diminished. I was no longer just existing, I was actively shaping my future. But there was still a major obstacle to overcome: self-doubt. Even as I made progress, there were moments where I felt like an imposter, as if I wasn't really meant for success. That voice in my head, the one that had always whispered "you're not good enough," hadn't completely disappeared. But instead of letting it control me, I learned to counter it. Whenever that voice crept in, I reminded myself of how far I had come, how much I had learned, and how many obstacles I had already overcome. I refused to let self-doubt dictate my future. That was when everything truly changed. The more I reinforced my new mindset, the more my reality transformed. I became the kind of person who didn't just hope for success, I expected it. And with that expectation came an unshakable belief in my abilities, a hunger to push beyond limits, and a willingness to embrace challenges head-on. Every day, I refined my discipline, set higher goals, and pushed past every obstacle with unwavering determination. My failures became stepping stones, my struggles turned into lessons, and every setback only fueled my drive to achieve more. The transformation was not just in my mindset but in my entire being. I stopped questioning whether I could succeed and instead started acting as if success was inevitable. With every challenge I conquered, I became stronger, more confident, and more relentless in my pursuit of greatness. My new mindset became my greatest weapon. Every day, I repeated affirmations to myself: I am capable. I am strong. I am becoming the person I was meant to be. I wrote down my goals and visualized achieving them. And most importantly, I took action. Because mindset without action is just daydreaming. And that's where my real journey began, by realizing that the only thing standing between me and success was the way I thought about myself. Once I changed my mindset, I changed my life. I started pushing myself out of my comfort zone. It wasn't easy. Growth never is. I learned that if I wanted to achieve something great, I had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. The truth is, comfort zones are seductive. They make us feel safe, but they also keep us stagnant. The more I resisted discomfort, the more I remained in the same place. So, I made a commitment to embrace challenges head-on, to deliberately seek out situations that tested me. Think about it. Athletes don't become champions by sticking to easy workouts. They wake up at dawn, they train when they don't feel like it, and they push their bodies beyond what feels possible. Entrepreneurs don't build billion-dollar businesses by playing it safe. They take risks, invest in themselves, and make bold moves despite the uncertainty. Leaders don't inspire millions by staying quiet. They challenge the status quo, they stand for something greater than themselves, and they dare to lead. They push, they struggle, and they grow. And that's exactly what I had to do. I had to put myself in uncomfortable situations, because discomfort was the price of growth. Every difficult conversation, every risk I took, every failure I encountered, all of it added up to shaping me into the person I was meant to become. One of the most powerful lessons I learned was the importance of skill development. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards skill. If you're not actively learning and improving, you're falling behind. I made it my mission to develop the tools I needed to succeed. Communication, time management, financial literacy, emotional intelligence. Every skill I picked up made me stronger, more confident, and more capable of facing life's challenges. I immersed myself in learning, treating it as a lifelong pursuit rather than a temporary phase. I sought out mentors, read books on self-improvement, and attended workshops. I took online courses on subjects I knew would enhance my abilities, from leadership to negotiation to public speaking. I realized that every bit of knowledge I gained gave me an edge. Beyond formal education, I embraced experiential learning. I placed myself in situations where I had to apply these skills in real-world scenarios. I joined networking events, led small projects, and actively participated in discussions that forced me to articulate my thoughts effectively. I understood that knowledge without action was useless, and so I committed to applying everything I learned immediately. Through trial and error, I began to see significant progress. My communication improved, and I found myself better at articulating ideas. My time management allowed me to work more efficiently, maximizing productivity. My understanding of financial literacy helped me make better financial decisions, ensuring long-term stability. My emotional intelligence allowed me to handle interpersonal relationships with a level of maturity and tact I never had before. This wasn't just about acquiring skills, it was about transforming myself into a person who was equipped to handle success. Each skill I acquired became a stepping stone toward my greater goal, a brick in the foundation of the person I was becoming. The more I learned, the more I realized how much potential I had been leaving on the table by not taking my personal development seriously. I started seeing learning as a never-ending journey rather than a destination. I expanded beyond technical skills and sought out wisdom in every aspect of life. I studied the habits of high achievers, adopted their routines, and experimented with different techniques for productivity, discipline, and personal growth. I found that knowledge wasn't just about acquiring information, but about applying it, testing it in real-world scenarios, and refining my approach through experience. One of the biggest lessons I internalized was that success wasn't built overnight. It required patience, resilience, and a relentless commitment to self-improvement. I learned to enjoy the process, to embrace the small wins along the way, and to find fulfillment in the act of continuous growth itself. From that moment on, I committed to lifelong learning as the cornerstone of my success, knowing that with each step forward, I was becoming more capable, more confident, and more prepared for the future I envisioned. Then came my biggest battle, fear. Fear had controlled me for too long. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of looking foolish. But here's the truth: fear is a liar. It exists only to keep you trapped. I had to make a decision: let fear define me, or face it head on. I chose the latter. I started doing things that scared me, speaking up, taking risks, making bold moves. And guess what? Every time I faced a fear, it got smaller. The more I challenged myself, the stronger I became. Another major turning point was letting go of perfection. I used to believe I had to have everything figured out before I took action, that every detail needed to be aligned before I could begin. But perfection is a trap. It paralyzes you with fear, making you hesitate, overthink, and ultimately do nothing. The most successful people in the world didn't wait until they were ready. They started with what they had, embraced failure as part of the journey, and learned through experience. That's exactly what I did. I stopped obsessing over making things flawless and instead focused on making progress. Each step forward, no matter how imperfect, built momentum. And that momentum changed everything. But success doesn't come easy, and distractions are everywhere. Social media, TV, endless notifications, negative influences. These things were stealing my time and energy, pulling me away from what truly mattered. Every minute spent mindlessly scrolling was a minute lost from my growth. I had to make a conscious decision: continue wasting hours living through other people's highlights, or invest in my own reality. So I took control. I removed unnecessary distractions, silenced notifications, and dedicated specific time blocks for deep work and self-improvement. I set clear boundaries, creating a structured daily focus routine that eliminated wasted time. The transformation was incredible. My productivity skyrocketed, my mental clarity improved, and I felt a renewed sense of purpose. With every focused hour, I was building the foundation for my future. And the results? Life-changing. One of the hardest truths I had to accept was that no one was coming to save me. I had spent too much time waiting for motivation, waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to give me a chance. But waiting is a slow death, a gradual erosion of potential that keeps you shackled in place while time slips away. If you want something, you have to go out and take it with both hands, without waiting for permission or ideal circumstances. That realization wasn't just a moment of clarity, it was a complete mental shift. It gave me power, not because the obstacles disappeared, but because I finally understood that I had the strength to overcome them. It gave me control over my own destiny, forcing me to stop being a passive observer in my life and start becoming the architect of my future. I started thinking about my legacy. What did I want to leave behind? What did I want my life to stand for? It wasn't just about money or success, it was about making an impact, about creating something meaningful that would outlive me. I wanted to inspire, to uplift, and to prove that transformation is possible for anyone willing to put in the effort. I wanted my story to be more than just personal success. I wanted it to be a beacon for others facing their own struggles. I knew I had to win, not just for myself, but for my family, for my community, and for everyone who had ever doubted me. My journey was no longer just mine. It was a testament to perseverance, resilience, and the power of relentless action. So I took action. I stopped making excuses. I started working on my goals every single day with unwavering commitment. There were days when progress felt slow, when I doubted if all the effort was worth it, but I pushed forward regardless. I surrounded myself with people who inspired me, who fueled my ambition rather than drained it. I embraced discipline, understanding that motivation would not always be there to carry me through. And the more effort I put in, the more the world started opening up for me. Opportunities appeared where I once saw obstacles. What used to intimidate me became a challenge I was excited to conquer. Confidence replaced self-doubt as I realized that I was no longer waiting for success, I was actively creating it. And slowly but surely, I built the life I had always dreamed of, one determined step at a time. And now, I want you to do the same. Stop waiting. Stop doubting. Stop letting fear and distractions dictate your future. You have the power to shift your life in any direction you choose. Take control of your mind, develop your skills, eliminate negativity, and take massive, consistent action. Don't let hesitation steal your potential. Because at the end of the day, the only person who can change your life is you. And the moment you decide to step up, everything begins to transform. Your time is now. Go make it happen. If this story has inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs motivation. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Join this journey of self-improvement and let's grow together. Every word you learn, every lesson you apply, brings you one step closer to fluency in English and mastery in life. Let's make progress, one day at a time.